So if you're a developer, chances are you've used an AI coding assistant. They're pretty great for auto-completing a line here and there, or maybe generating a quick function. But what if an AI could do more? What if it could act like a genuine pair programmer sitting right there with you in your terminal? Well, that's the whole idea behind the new kind of tool we're going to dig into today, Claude Code.
And this right here is the core problem with so many of the AI tools we have now. This quote just nails it. They generate code that looks plausible, but they do it in a complete vacuum. They have no idea that your user service needs the auth middleware. All they see is the one tiny snippet you feed them, which means their suggestions often look right, but are totally wrong for your actual project.
So, that leads us to the really big question, right? What if an AI could finally break out of that vacuum? What if it could understand your entire project, all the files, all the dependencies, and then act on your instructions? This is exactly the problem Claude Code was built to solve.
And that brings us to the main idea here. See, Claude Code isn't just another code generator. It's designed to be an agent for your code. And what that really means is it's built for context-aware execution, not just context-free generation. It's a pretty fundamental shift in how we should think about these tools.
So, what does Agentic actually mean in this world? Well, it means the AI is an active participant. It's a tool that can read your whole code base, actually edit the files, run shell commands, and even plug into your tools like Git. In other words, it doesn't just suggest, it acts.
Let's just walk through how that works. First, it reads all your files to build a kind of mental map of your project. Then, it can run commands, and it always asks for your approval first, which is, a super important safety feature. After that, it'll edit the files to make the changes, and finally, it can even run Git commands for you to manage your version control. The whole workflow, right there.
Now, what's really interesting is when you see how it stacks up against other tools you might be using. I mean, GitHub Copilot is awesome, but it only has partial context, and it definitely doesn't execute actions for you. Aider is probably the closest comparison. It's also context-aware and runs in the terminal. But Claude Code brings that really tight GitHub integration into the mix, basically checking off all the boxes.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get to the fun part and look at what this tool actually does in a real terminal session. This is where things get really, really powerful.
You can give it a high-level command just like this one. We all know writing tests is crucial, but man, is it tedious. With this, you just tell Claude Code what you want, and it doesn't just write the tests. It runs them, and then it even tries to fix any that fail. That is a massive productivity boost right there.
Or how about this one? We've all been there, staring at some huge monster function, trying to figure out what on earth it's doing. Instead of spending an hour tracing all the logic, you can just ask Claude Code. It'll read the code and give you a breakdown, which saves you a ton of time, especially when you're jumping into a new project or dealing with legacy code.
And this one perfectly shows how it just fits right into your workflow. So you've made your changes, and now you don't even have to write your own commit message. It can look at the diff of your staged files and just generate a solid, descriptive commit message for you. It's a small thing, but those things really add up.
And for the power users out there, it goes even deeper. For instance, you can drop a claude.md file in your project to give it permanent instructions, like your team's coding standards. You can even spawn multiple agents to work on different things at the same time, pipe server logs into it for analysis, or use it to help automate your CI/CD pipeline.
Now, you might be thinking a terminal-first tool would be kind of locked into that one environment, right? But that's not the case here at all.
Claude Code is really designed to be everywhere you are. I mean, yeah, it's a terminal-native tool at heart, but it also has extensions for VS Code and all the JetBrains IDEs, a full-on web interface, and even a standalone desktop app.
So here's the crucial thing. Your sessions aren't stuck on one device. You can kick off a long-running task in your terminal at work, check on how it's doing from the web app on your commute, and then pull it right back into your IDE at home to review the final changes. It's a super modern, flexible way to work.
Okay, so you're probably wondering how to get started and what's the catch? Let's get into the practical side of all this. The setup is just incredibly simple. For pretty much any operating system, it's literally one command you copy and paste into your terminal. Once that's done, you just cd into any project directory, type Claude, and you're off to the races. Takes less than a minute.
But let's be real about the fine print. First, this thing runs on the Claude API. So if you're doing complex tasks on a huge code base, it's going to use up tokens, and that can have a cost. Second, because it's always asking for your permission before it runs a command, you can get a little bit of permission fatigue in a long session. And finally, and this is a big one, you really need to understand the data and privacy policies.
And this is a really, really important distinction. If you're on a consumer plan, your data might be used to train their models unless you go in and opt out. However, for commercial users, so anyone on a team, enterprise, or API plan, Anthropic does not train its models on your code. For any company working with proprietary stuff, this is a non-negotiable, so it's awesome they make this so clear.
And this isn't just some niche little tool. With over 79,000 stars on GitHub, it is crystal clear that there's a huge amount of community interest here. That number tells you that thousands and thousands of developers are finding real value in this whole agentic approach to coding.
So that kind of leaves us with a final big thought. We're moving from tools that just suggest code to tools that actually execute entire tasks. When an AI can refactor a whole module, write all the tests for it, and then handle the version control on its own, well, what does the developer's role evolve into? It's a pretty fascinating question about the future of how we all work.